Hi, I'm Nicole Zell.
I'm Alexandra March.
And we're the hosts of Follow Your Art.
What's your question, Nicole? So we were like, okay, a way that we can get listeners to get to know us a little bit better. We'll try to be really honest and vulnerable with our questions.
Well, you have one, right? You start.
I asked you first.
I can give you a couple that people ask me a lot if you want. I have a lot of people, so if they're in a relationship, they want the other person to change because the other person's doing something they say is toxic. Or narcissism is a big deal right now. It's, in fact, on Google, one of the highest things that is trending on Google.
Why is that? Why
I've been honestly, because so many people call Trump a narcissist. And I think it's really political because so many people say it and then other people are like, what's a narcissist? You know? So I think honestly it is.
Do you think everyone's like, oh my gosh, I have so many narcissists around me.
People are labeling it wrong then? Like, and people aren't actually narcissists? They're just maybe narcissistic tendencies?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also a lot of spectrums of narcissism. And a lot of people hate when I say this, because not every single person that wronged you is a malignant narcissist. It's just a breakup. Sometimes it's just a breakup.
Or it's situational.
Yeah, it's situational. Right. It's just a breakup. Just because they've distanced themselves and moved on doesn't mean they're a narcissist. It might mean that you're the narcissist, you know? Like, it could be a lot of things. So a lot of people think that their relationship has to be bettering the other person or whatever. And my husband and I have had our own issues. So I always like to bring personal things in. He doesn't, but I'm going to bring it in. But so a lot of times people will, and I was guilty of this, I see things in his family or in his life that I can help him with. Well, number one, he didn't ask me to help. So I'm being a boundary crossing pain in the ass. And number two, just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. We all have our differences. And we usually are together with someone because wherever they are on the spectrum of what's going on in their relationship, they actually help each other. So when you look at your partner and they're doing something different, or if you see something in their family, or if he's seeing something in your family, whatever's going on, you just have to look at it as like, how can that help me? So a lot of women will say, I'm with someone who's emotional. This is like the biggest thing. My husband is emotionally distant. It's like, or are you being a pain in the ass? Like, because people will not be open if you are going to attack them 24/7. So if you don't attack them, they will be comfortable to open up. So a lot of times people don't see their space in a relationship.
Well, now after hearing you talk, I feel like, okay, so you said I'm being a boundary crossing pain in the ass.
Oh, I am too. But I still do it.
Well, but my question is, I have a little bit of mama bear energy sometimes, and I just never know when you clearly see an issue and you're trying to be that positive person and give them space, but knowing when to be real and not enabling or not bringing to attention something I might not be seeing. Because, I'm like, okay, well, if it's just letting them live their path, then I can see becoming a narcissist and not worrying about anybody. Like, you do you, I'll do me.
Yeah.
See you later.
Well, it depends on what it is. I tend to go by if what the other person is doing is affecting me or the family unit or whatever. So say it's my husband and I. If what he's doing I feel is affecting me or affecting our children or whatever, then I might bring it up. In general, I do catch myself, and he's not going to believe this because the amount of times I bite my tongue is like, because I am a more women are more verbal. Women tend to want to help more, and women tend to want to fix things more. People always say that men are the fixers. Men are the fixers more with things. Women are more the emotional fixers. So you can there's actually a part of, if you're looking at someone doing that, like when I've done it, I'm actually enabling. So if I'm like, oh, let me help you. I see how you're struggling. And it's like, it's sickening after a while. Like I sicken myself. So like, I'm like, you know what? Like, So, and I can hear myself when I do it, and he doesn't even know. Like, I don't say to him, like, oh my God, like what I did yesterday was like, bleh, like Edith Bunker. Like, you guys are probably too young, but like Edith Bunker is like the most enabling, annoying thing ever. And that is me sometimes. So like you have
Archie,
to,
right? Archie Bunker, right?
Yeah. But okay, on that, if you're acting like Edith, guess who's Archie? So anyway, because you can't have an Edith without an Archie. So the rule of thumb, honestly, and I admit that I don't always do it, and my husband is here, he doesn't always do it, but we tend to help people if they haven't asked for help. And sometimes we will repeatedly do it because we'll see like, oh, do you need help? And they'll say no. And you're thinking, of course you do. I can see you need help. And it could be something really topical, like moving furniture or something, or it could be emotional. If the other person isn't asking for help, traditionally, they probably don't want help. Or in the beginning of a relationship or the beginning of a situation, you do want to say, but you can't say it in the moment. So if that person is feeling down or whatever it is at that moment, you really shouldn't say it then because their dopamine is low. So your dopamine is sort of like one of your happy hormones. If someone is feeling like down, their dopamine is low, they're feeling physically fatigued, they're probably more achy. There's a lot going on. Like even a head cold lowers your dopamine. That's why you lay around with a head cold or a flu. So anytime the dopamine is low, they're not going to receive anything in a positive way. Like it's just pointless to do that. So, which is why also interventions, I'm not a real big fan of that because the person's dopamine is low and they already know they have failed so many people. So like a room full of it is not always going to help them to feel any better. It's more shameful. So when someone's even having any kind of an issue, it's better to wait until they're in a great mood and then maybe you write something to them. And you have to make sure it's like short because in the past as well, I've even told clients in the past to, write a letter, just say whatever you feel. But now I've learned that short is better. Like even something like, you were on my nerves yesterday. I'm not mad about it, but just so you know, over it. That can't happen again. So like something like that is enough. And it's more about your own boundaries. Like when you're around a person who's doing that, they're a buzzkill and just like say it. Like I deserve more than to tiptoe around. And when you're acting like that, you either ask for help or get help or have a special spot that I know that you're going to be when you're feeling like this. But I can't from minute to minute change. Okay, are you in a good mood today? Or are you in a bad mood today? Or, what's going on? So you have to kind of put your own boundaries up. And when you are feeling like you want to give too much to someone, that is also a clue that, and I have been there. So I'm not like saying like, oh, I'm a therapist and I know all these answers. Like a lot of it I've been through myself. And actually, there's been times where I was like studying something early on. I'm like, ooh, shit, this is me. So like a lot of like that studying, I was like, oh, I got to better to get it together. So, but a lot of times you think you're helping someone and what you're really doing is pushing. And they will get worse because you're pushing. So it's better just to really be in a relationship. And I don't know about men, because I usually work with women, but a lot of women have a hard time with this. They think that a relationship is now you are there for this other person helping them all the time. When really the most attractive, amazing thing is when you're living your life and they have to kind of catch up to you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow.
How'd you all meet?
Yeah.
Oh, at work when I was working in broadcast. And can I tell them something?
Absolutely.
Consent.
So at CN8, when I don't know who it was, one of the it went through several changes of hands, but at one point they were like, "You're not allowed." To me, I had worked at Lenfest first for a short time because at this point, I moved back to this area and I was in Coatesville, so I was allowed to be upstairs with everyone. Well, then they had this big change and then they put me in the basement. I was the only person retained out of that office in broadcast. But they didn't want me upstairs. HR didn't want me upstairs. So I had to be in a moldy ass basement. And I was like, okay, well, this is great. So I had no contact with anyone. It was horrible. And I would just wear sweats and everything else in there. Because who am I going to see?
Right.
And unless I'm on air, which I was traveling to different studios, I just had to sit there like a monkey. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. So I remember the one day I'm sitting down there and then all of a sudden I hear someone. Now you have to understand it was scary because I'm in a basement by myself. I'm not allowed upstairs. And
unless X-Files.
It was weird.
It was so
I
feel like we're opening some trauma.
No, it was so weird. But then all of a sudden, so this guy comes down and he leans on my doorway, very suave. Okay, so suave. It was a move, yes. Really suave. I don't even know. First, I think you just walked by and talked to me, but then he kept he's like, oh, I'm an engineer and I need to come down in the engineering room. But then he kept needing to go to the engineering room. But then he would stop and talk to me. But he would lean on the doorway, really suave and talk to me. And then he started bringing me gifts, and it was like funny. It was almost like giving me food.
What was he bringing?
What was
what,
really
lingerie?
No, like, no, that would not have been. Actually, that was probably a few months after. But what happened was, it was really weird. My mom had just passed away, and she said to me, "This is so weird." She said, "I'm going to come back as a hummingbird." Now, I swear to God, our relationship went so quickly, and I do not suggest that anyone else do this, okay? But he came and he was like, "I don't know why I did this, but like I got you flowers and it was in a hummingbird vase." And then like anything that she anything that was important to her, like she loved, I don't know, there was some saint that she loved. I forget at the time, but like he didn't even know why he did it, but he brought me a keychain with this particular saint. Wow. And I was like, this is it. Like my mom like had just passed away a couple of months ago, and she like brought me this like engineer guy. Like this is what has just happened. So he actually started helping me with my house and like helping me with the kitchen. And then he was like, "Well, I should just stay over." And then it turned into, I barely knew him. And I said, "You know what? I really need a vacation. Give me your credit card," because that's how I am. And I said, "Give me your credit card." I need a vacation.
I don't know what I was thinking.
He gave it to me. Sure. I only had met him like 6 times. We didn't even go on a date. Like it was like he was this like geeky engineer at work, and he gave me the credit card, and I booked a cruise. And so I booked a cruise, and I said, "Okay,
this is fun.
I booked a cruise in 6 months in advance. Like, so in September, if you want to go on a cruise, like you can be on the cruise with me." I didn't even book it for him. I like booked me a cruise, and he knew that. And he like gave, I think about it now, you would never do something like this now, I don't think. But it was funny. And he also lied about his age in the beginning. And so like we had all this like funny stuff going on. So by the time we went on the cruise in September, like I knew his real age, and like we were already dating. But yeah.
So the whole lying about the age thing, it wasn't really a lying thing. It was, I felt pressured. So Michelle's there. I meet her, and she's sitting on the chair, and she's kind of like rocking back and forth like this. She goes, "I'm so old. I'm so old." And she kept on chanting that. And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "It's my birthday today. I'm going to be," I believe she was 32 when I first met her. She says, "I'm so old. I'm 32. I'm 32. And then she looked up at me and she goes, "How old are you?" And then I figured, well, if I tell her I'm 6 years older than her, it's going to be like, so I felt pressure. So I said, 36 or something like that. Or I dropped a few years, obviously.
But it was still a lie.
Yeah, it was still a lie, but I
So
just
for
felt
months, I thought he was younger. And I even made the point of saying, "This is my ex was 6 years older." And I even made the point of saying, "I'm so glad that we are, like, you're this age," because I swore to myself I would never be with someone 6 years or more older.
Well, I didn't know. That's all background stuff I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. But honestly, she didn't set you up in a good way. You come in and she's like, "I'm so old."
Yes. I felt like
I felt really bad.
That basement was getting to you.
Yeah, it was probably mold.
It was the spores too. Like what?
Spores. I'm just like, I probably was aging a lot faster at that point.
Oh my God. And then how soon after did you guys get married?
6 months.
Wow.
It was very quick.
Oh yeah, you guys knew.
Yeah.
Aww. That's amazing.
And we got married in our kitchen because we couldn't like figure out where we wanted to marry, and we're both really into coffee. So we had the actual the judge who I used to work out with. The judge actually, as soon as he married us, his job was, we like wrote it down, like what we want you to do is go and turn the coffee machine on. So he married us, walked over, turned the coffee machine on.
I feel like I'm gonna cry. Like to me, because you hear that noise every day. So like every morning.
His sentimentality.
Yeah. And I will tell you that he has, other than when he has had to work early in the morning, like 4 a.m., every single morning of our marriage, like I get coffee delivered. Like I like wake up to coffee next to me.
Oh,
so
it's part of waking up. Is Steve marrying you up?
That's amazing. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to? So
are you guys getting teary?
I am. I'm getting a little.
I do get teary. I really respect that. I think that's really dope. I never heard that before.
Thank you, Steve, for that segment. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Hopefully.
It's a bonus segment.
Hopefully I added a little something there.
You can be part of the Follow Your Art fam by subscribing to the podcast and following us on social media. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/followyourartpodcast. And our Instagram is instagram.com/followyourart_podcast.
We'd like this podcast to be a community experience. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to explore, or if you'd like to submit your art to be featured on all our social media platforms, feel free to email us at followyourartpodcast@gmail.com. A quick thank you to Benya Barshai for providing the intro and the outro music, our studio helpers. You've been listening to Follow Your Art.